Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry, a few minutes late, but we were just getting everything set up in the beginning here. So I hope everybody's doing well this Sunday morning. Thank you, everybody. I see the chat's already all filled up, so it's great to see everybody here. Welcome to episode 9 of the Raw Intuition Health Show. Today, we have an exciting episode. It's going to be really fun. And I am joined by my good friend Olivia Hertzog from oliviahertzog.com, where she has an incredible private community. She has coaching services as well as programs that you can take. So she's out there helping people take control of their health and their life. And so I'm excited to have her here. Let's get her in the screen here. There's Olivia. Olivia, how you doing?
Good. Hello, everybody. I always like talking to you, Matt. I'm excited for this.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited too. Yeah, so today we're going to talk about the true signs of health. All right. So, there's a lot of ideas out there about what health is and what health means, but we're going to kind of give our perspective on this and just share with you guys some things to look at that you might be overlooking in terms of overall health. It's not just about one thing. It's not just about diet. It's not just about exercise. There's various things, and I think there's some common traits that I've seen, and I'm excited to hear what Olivia has to share on this as well. But just some things that you can look at kind of as markers of true health. I think some people may seem healthy, but then they lack some of these things, that really show true health. And so yeah, we're gonna get into that. And also, as you guys know, every show we have a giveaway. And so if you stick around to the Q&A section at the end, I'm going to give away a copy of 21 Day Raw Transformation Program. So the ebook, I'll send you an ebook. Just email me if you're selected at matt@myrawintuition.com. And Olivia has generously offered to give 1 free month to her private community to the winner of the Q&A. So thank you, Olivia, for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. Yeah, I love my community. I have tons of recipes. We do group coaching in there. We're currently in the middle of a Rocktober challenge, which is,
Nice.
an October raw food challenge. We do lots of really cool things in there. So I'm excited to have that and gift it to someone.
So cool. All right. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you again. That's very generous. And so yeah, I hope everybody's out there is thinking of your questions to ask in the Q&A to hopefully win that gift. All right. So yeah, let's get started here on what is something that you have come to find to be like a true marker of health.
I love this question. I love this topic so much because I agree with you that I think sometimes we see certain things that we might think are indicative of health, but they may or they may not be true. So, what I think is a true mark of health is when a person is connected to themselves and a person has knowledge of self. So, I often say to my clients, health is connection to self, and disease is disconnection from self. When we don't know ourselves in a state of health, we tend to think of, oh, that person is healthy because X, Y, or Z. Oh, that person's healthy because of all the time they go to the gym. Oh, that person's healthy because they eat that very specific diet. But I think the truth is that people are healthy when they are connected to what truly lights them up, what truly works for them, what truly excites them. Even in the raw vegan community, I don't know two people who eat identical diets.
Yeah.
Do you know two people who eat identical diets?
I don't.
Because,
No.
yeah, and so, but I think we have this tendency again when we feel like we're out of a state of health, when we're trying to move towards greater health, to say, "Oh, Matt does it this way, so that's health." Right? Like if I follow his 21-day meal plan perfectly for the rest of all eternity, that's health. And if that's how Olivia does it, so if I follow it exactly how Olivia does it, that's health. But the reality is is your diet and lifestyle works for you, Matt,
Yep.
because it's yours, right? It is yours. It's what you love. It's what works with your lifestyle and your just your whole life. And mine works for me because it's what I love and it's what works with my schedule and where I live uniquely in the world and all of these individual factors. And so really health is not a very specific thing. It's not this very specific diet. It's not this very specific exercise plan. It's not this very specific anything. It is connecting to ourselves, knowing ourselves, and really asking ourselves, what do I love? What makes me happy? How do I like to move my body? It doesn't matter if someone else loves to run marathons. If you hate running, don't run, right? Do
Right.
something else. Health is connection to self.
Yeah, I love that, and I that's kind of like that could tie into each of my 3 points, because I think I agree that is so important, and that's why I always encourage people to find I give them like a basic foundation of what has worked for me, and then I encourage them to just make it into your own thing, right? Because that's what I did. I listened to various people, found what worked for each person, and then tried it on myself and kind of tweaked it into a way that works best for me. And so yeah, when I see somebody just trying to replicate somebody else, it's just like it's a recipe for disaster. And I know that I love how you explain this and communicate this to people because it's just so important. And yeah, I love that.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. I think if I could say one more thing, I think
Yeah.
we see this happening a lot. And I don't mean to bash anyone. I never do. But there's certain protocols. I'll say one. The medical medium
Mm,
protocol is one that I see that people follow to a T. And again, I'm not anti-medical medium, but I think to follow another person's protocol, what works for another person, and assuming that it's going to work universally across the board for everyone, the whole celery juice, lemon water, heavy metal detox smoothie routine. Again, they're whole foods. Those are real whole foods. Eat them, enjoy them, drink them. That's awesome. But we are all so unique. We have unique histories. We have unique genetic makeups. We live in unique places in the world. We have unique schedules. We have everything is ultimately unique about us. And we can't fit ourselves into these very narrow boxes of following a very specific protocol that's supposed to work for everyone in all of their uniqueness. And so that's just one example. And again, I'm not saying to a person not to do that. The medical medium protocols have helped people. And I also think, to be quite honest, that they haven't in a certain way when people hold on to them too tightly, feeling like they must do this, they must make celery juice for breakfast, when in reality, oranges are in season and they really want orange juice, but celery juice is better, right? I
yeah.
mean, these types of things don't really serve a person.
Yeah. Totally. So yeah, I hope everybody out there writes down what Olivia said. Health is connection to self. And yeah, I mean, I think that right there is the key, is finding that connection to yourself. And that's, that's my whole thing. That's Raw Intuition, the name of my YouTube channel. I just I it's your connection to your intuition and to yourself is just so key. And I think when you do that, when you are connected, it everything else kind of falls into place, and you're able to follow your gut instinct, your intuition. And in my experience, anytime that I do that, anytime I follow my intuition, even if maybe my brain is telling me maybe that's kind of scary, or don't not sure if I should do that, but if I follow that intuition, it almost always leads me to a really good place. So
Totally.
yeah. So yeah, my first one is in alignment with this as well. And I would say, your ability to stand up for what you believe in, and your ability to, stand up for yourself, I think is a key biomarker, a key marker of health. If you are solid in your, convictions, if you really stand for what you believe in, I think that leads to um, your emotional well-being, being balanced and healthy. And I think that stems, everything else stems from our emotional health. That's the biggest thing that I've noticed, especially over the last, 12 years of being in this lifestyle and learning about health, is that the food, people with food issues, usually that's a symptom of other emotional or mental issues that they haven't resolved yet. And so by, standing up for yourself, I think like that's like ground zero for building your confidence, your connection to self. Because when you accept yourself, we all want to be accepted, and most people think that means being accepted by others, but I think the first person you need to be accepted by is yourself. And when you are accepted by yourself, you have the confidence to do what you feel is right. You're not just going to be people pleasing. You're not going to be trying to fit in, with everybody's, preferences. You're going to do what you know is best for you. And that's I think the first thing that people should look at if they're not getting the results that they want in their life, whether it be sticking to their diet or achieving their goals. Being solid in your self, and really standing for your beliefs, your what you think is best for you. So that's one of the things that I've noticed, is that people that can make their own path, even if it's again putting taking different things from other people that they've learned from other successful people, and making it their own path, and doing it that way. I think that's a good place to start for if you want true health, is finding your own way to making it work for you.
Yeah, I think in my coaching programs, I have a video titled, well, actually, I don't know what it's titled, but the video is in essence about people pleasing,
Mm,
and how that's the biggest things that I've noticed as well that really trips people up is when it's essentially what you're saying. We become more concerned with people pleasing, making other people feel comfortable, having other people understand us. Um, Having the approval of other people than we are with sticking with our convictions and what we know that we want. And that's a really big thing. It's a really big obstacle to overcome. And the reality is sometimes when we decide to take this path of health and growth, relationships dissolve, right? We lose friendships, we might lose family members, and that can be a really difficult reality to accept. And because that's a difficult reality to accept, and some people aren't ready for that, they will sabotage their health journeys, right? Because they don't want to create that distance or separation from the people that they love, which is understandable. Um, but I think the reality is, yeah, if you want what you want, if you want the health, if you want the growth, it will require you to stand up for what you believe in, even if that requires to sort of say goodbye to some people.
yeah. Yeah, and I think reframing, I was thinking about this morning, reframing, because I hear people say, oh, it's too difficult to do this, or, it's too difficult to be different from people. If you can reframe that into, not, don't say it's too difficult, just say, or, think of it as there's a great deal of personal growth, or there's a great deal of learning a new skill that I can get from this. Looking at it as an opportunity rather than it's too hard, I think can really make it easier to go down this path of being your unique self and making this into your own way of doing things, and not being so concerned about what other people are going to think, or if you're going to lose this relationship. Because I have found that when you are confident in your decisions and in who you are, that that draws people to you more. And even if people take that, you know, in the very beginning as something that causes some turbulence in your relationships, a lot of times that'll even out, and those relationships, if they're true relationships that you want, that true healthy relationships, they will, work themselves out, and things will end up
Mm,
probably better than they were.
totally. Yeah. We all only ever know the best of what we've experienced up to this point, right? And
Yep.
so I think we get scared thinking that we're going to lose the best friend or the best person that we've known. But the reality is better and more is always available. And so while you might lose or you might not lose a person, you might also meet the coolest, most aligned, most best new friend or best new partner or best new whatever that you've yet to experience. And so we don't want to cut ourselves off from that opportunity, that potential, right? Because we're holding on to the best that we've ever known, which isn't the best that's available.
Yes, I love that. That is so true. All right, what do you got for your second one?
Cool. I love this point too. So, my second measure of true health is peace of mind. So,
Yeah.
what I mean by that is, I mean that you're not stressing over food or your weight or your calories or your exercise. You're not worried that every Glade plug-in is going to poison you. You're not panicked that every pool with some chlorine in it is going to give you cancer. Um, you're at peace, right? And that's not to say that things like chlorine in a pool aren't potentially real toxins that we might not want to bathe in every day. But I do see a very real trend with people who are truly healthy, which is that they're not afraid, right? They're not afraid of every little thing that could potentially be poisoning us, every little thing that could cause an issue. They are free. They are free in their mind, and then because they're free in their mind, they're free in their choices, and they end up making really positive choices from that place of peace rather than panicky choices from a place of fear. So again, I don't think that true health is necessarily a specific thing, like never going swimming if you love to swim. I think it's how do you look at that pool? How do you interact with it? How do you feel about it? Are you panicky and worried, or are you calm? What is it if you were to eat that non-organic apple or that donut? Can you do so and just do it in a state of peace and grace and love for yourself, and then move on from that choice and make another choice that might be more healthful? Or are you going to berate yourself endlessly for 3 weeks because of a donut, which is not a mark of true health? So, peace of mind, peace of mind.
Oh man, that ties in perfectly with my next one. Yeah,
Oh,
I could not agree more. And I admit I could maybe fall into that category of being very, because I'm very, especially with environmental toxins, I'm very like really on that. But I completely agree with you. I see Sherry said, Olivia, tell that to Matt. Yeah, because that's like that's what I love researching is environmental toxins. I mean, I don't know why I love it, but it's just like, it's one of those things I'm interested in. So, yes, but no, you're so right. I think my next one is balance. And so that this is like exactly what I was thinking of to talk about. Um, so yeah, like with I call it like the tightrope of compliance. I see so many people that, just for now, I'll just talk about diet. So people that think they have to be all raw or, whatever, they can't eat any processed food or whatever. Um, that it's like the people that I have found are the healthiest and that do the best long term are the people that have some flexibility, like you're
mm,
saying, the balance. Do you have balance in your diet or in your lifestyle? And I don't mean like balance. Like, are you eating a balanced diet? Like you're eating from each category of the government created food pyramid. I'm talking about like balance in, do you feel secure in your approach to your diet? Like, um, think about, like, say you go to the vegan circus or whatever, and you see the guy up on the tightrope, and he's walking. This is like what I see most people, or a lot of people anyways. They're like walking this little tiny tightrope of compliance with their diet, and it's like there's no flex. Like, the slightest wind is going to come by and knock them off, and then they're going to be off into like the drive through, or they're going to inhale a bag of potato chips or something, and then they're just out in the weeds. And so they don't have any balance in terms of being able to, any time they're out of their comfort zone, they can just get flown into the abyss of poor lifestyle choices. So being on that really tight rope of compliance, where it's just like so easy, anytime something unexpected happens, you have to travel, you have a birthday party, just a traumatic event happens, that's gonna knock you off of your tightrope of compliance, and you're gonna just have some issues. So if you can build in some flexibility, which is why in my book I encourage people to make um, a traffic light system with green light foods, yellow light foods, and red light foods to help them. Those yellow light foods are there to support you in an imperfect environment, like in an imperfect situation where you're out of your comfort zone, you're out of your routine, you just don't have the perfect situation in terms of what you want for food. If you have those yellow light foods, it gives you that flexibility. And I look at that like, instead of walking that little rope of compliance, you're like on a plank or something. You got some good room to balance yourself. So people that are just so anal about being so strict, and they pigeonhole themselves into one approach, somebody else's approach a lot of times that they're trying to duplicate, or just one mindset of all cooked food is poison. Yeah, can't get into a swimming pool. All these different things. If you're so like just pigeonholed into that perception or that mindset, it just sets you up for easily being, getting off track more than you need to be. So, yeah, I totally agree. Having balance in your diet and in your lifestyle is so key to long term health, and not only physically but mentally as well.
Yeah, I think that I always come back to asking myself and then asking my community or my clients, what is the purpose to everything that we're doing? What is ultimately the purpose? And everyone can answer that differently. But for me, the purpose is so that I can live a fuller life, period.
Yeah.
Right? So that I'm healthy in mind and body and spirit, so I can do all the things that I want to do. I have known clients and people who have missed out on family weddings because they couldn't bring their juicer. I have met people that have turned down life changing trips with their siblings because they didn't know what they were going to eat in this Austria, wherever they were going. I
Yeah.
have known people have turned down opportunities to connect and to be with loved ones and to be with friends and to do life things, right? Weddings, travel, all kinds of beautiful things, because they didn't feel like they could adhere to their strict diet. And there can be a time and a place to adhere to a very strict diet, right? If we're in a time of deep healing or detox, we're working through a severe health struggle, there can be a time to forego some of those experiences for our very disciplined health regime. But ultimately, I don't see the goal to be to stay in that place, but rather to get to a place where we have our health, right? We have our health in such a place that we can travel and we can see friends and we can go out to restaurants or we can go to parties or events or whatever we want to do, and we don't restrict ourselves or we don't say no to those amazing experiences because we're not sure how we're going to make juice, right? And so Yeah, it's all about, I think, yeah, for me, I choose my health so I can live a fuller life, not so I can be more restricted in where I can go and what I can do.
Yeah, and I think that's why, so many people are drawn to your message and to you because you're very, you make it so easy for people to make a healthy lifestyle practical. Um, because yeah, it's like if you're so stressed out about these little details without, people lose sight of the big picture and they just get so fixated on these little details that may or may not have the biggest effect. So yeah, keeping the big picture, what is your goal? Like why are you doing the things you do? And is it to be like constantly stressed out about making everything perfect in your life? Or is it, about the the experiences and feeling good, but at the same time not making yourself crazy that you have to, keep your juicer with you at all times, things like that. So I mean, I always point people to, especially like over the last few years, I've seen Chef AJ with these, centenarians or, these 95, 98, 100-year-old, 103-year-old people. And they're like, one guy was like, she asked what he eats. He's like, he has waffles, homemade waffles for breakfast, and like, um, just things that people in especially the raw community would be like, no, that's toxic. You're never gonna be healthy if you do this. But we have these examples of so many people out there, and I have great grandparents that lived until their late 90s. One was 99, and they weren't raw vegan or anything like that. So it's just I just wish we could get to a point where we, and I think everybody is going to come to this on their own, but it's just like, um, you know, the food. I'm not against, obviously, trying to optimize your diet. I think that's perfect. That's a great thing to do. But to be just fixated and obsessive about it, I think bringing back, bring balance back into your life so that you can, enjoy things that you otherwise might not if you're, too fixated on something. But yeah, I mean, it's again, you got to make it work what you believe is optimal for you. So I'm not saying don't be 100% raw. Don't try and like be as clean and perfect with your lifestyle as you can be. But if it's not sustainable, then you got to maybe think about adjusting things. And so yeah, that's just my approach. Is if you can do whatever you're doing sustainably and healthfully, then I think that's perfect. But each person is going to be a little bit different in what makes that sustainable for them.
Totally. That flows really nicely into my third point. Should I go or?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Yeah. So my third mark of a truly healthy person is consistent long-term health and happiness results. And so how I think that ties in nicely is your comment on the people in their 90s and the hundreds and beyond, people living in the blue zones, who are living these long, healthy, vital lives. And I've yet to read an interview or hear from one of these people that they're raw vegan, or even that diet is the number one thing that they attribute to their long-term health. They do say in some cases, in a lot of cases, I think that their diet matters, but not to the point where it is the pinnacle of everything that matters. And I say that and also want to be very clear that, like you said, Matt, I'm not saying that diet doesn't matter. I eat a mostly raw vegan diet. I eat tons of fruit. I don't eat McDonald's every day, right? I think food very, very much does matter, but it matters in its appropriate place. It doesn't matter to the extent where making perfect, quote unquote, perfect, whatever that is, food choices is the truest, onlyest mark of a healthy person. And I think what I also mean by consistent long-term health and happiness results is, I think sometimes what we can see on social media is people doing a short-term juice cleanse or a long-term juice cleanse or a short-term detox or they've been eating a raw vegan diet for 6 months or a year, and they have these amazing results. They've lost all this weight, or they've cleared up their acne, or they've reversed whatever this health problem is. And by all means, let's celebrate one another's successes. By all means, let's do that. But also, let's be careful not to get overly caught up in the emotion of a short term win and forget to zoom out and look at the people who have long term results. I read books about people in the blue zones who are 115 years old and who have lived long, healthy, happy lives. That's who I am looking to. What are they doing? How are they eating? How are they moving? How are they spending their time? How are they thinking? These ought to be our examples, right? Or other people among us who have been successfully maintaining a healthy diet and lifestyle for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Again, great. Do a short-term detox. I'm not anti those things, but I'm not so sure there's wisdom in following the advice, or going to a person who has such short-term successes rather than refocusing towards, wait, who's been doing this for a really long time and been really consistently successful with this? Because the reality is most people who lose the weight gain back the weight. Most people who join the gym quit the gym. Most people, I mean, these are just the facts, right? This is the truth. And so again, not to rain on anyone's parade who's been successful in the gym for 6 months or who just completed a detox, but let's make sure that we don't get overly attached to thinking that these short-term results are really the true markers of what a person is doing who has been successfully healthy and happy for many, many decades.
Yes, totally. Um, I agree, and that's exactly why I made adjustments. In how flexible I was with my approach to eating, and I used to be um, very hard on myself if I were to have any cooked food. But I just found that the flexibility of and and again, cooked food, can mean a lot of different things, right? So I still, while I've given myself flexibility, I still have boundaries that I stay within with that cooked food. So I keep it whole foods and very healthy, and I add it to a big salad, and so that's what I have found to work well for me. And so yeah, when I need that, I let myself have it, and I think it's a very healthy way to eat still, and so I don't get down on myself like I used to, like probably 6 or 7 years ago. And I think, yeah, I think that's just so key. And again, the people that are 100% all the time, I think that's great. To me, it comes back to sustainability. If that's going to be sustainable for you, then perfect. That's awesome. But yeah, being able to zoom back out, like you said, and just kind of see see life for what it is, more than just diet. Yeah, I think that's a really healthy thing to do.
Totally. Totally agree.
Yes. All right. So I mine is let's see, what did I have for my third one? Okay, yes. So your ability to express compassion and empathy for others and for yourself, I think, is definitely a sign of a healthy person. I again, back 6 or 7 years ago, when I was so hard on myself, if I were to get off of my perfect way of eating that I thought back in the day, I don't think that is a true sign of health. I think having a connection, like we talked about earlier, with yourself and with your intuition, that in itself is going to help you to be more compassionate. I think it just naturally draws out your innate compassion and empathy, for yourself, which, again, as I've talked, as I've told you guys many times, how I used to be with my hair. And even though I I identified with my hair, and as I was losing it, once I got on to this lifestyle, so the diet here is was a huge step for me in the direction of connecting back with my intuition and with myself. I started to lose my hair, and I thought, the world was going to end. And I
Mm.
had so no compassion, no, compassion for myself. I was very hard on myself. I had a lot of toxic thought patterns about that. But once I got more connected with myself through raw fruits and vegetables, I started to see myself in a completely different way, and I started having way more compassion for myself, which in turn, as I got over that and I grew through that, which I think people there's illusions that come up when we go through challenges. So anytime we face a challenge, it presents illusions to us that we think we see one thing coming that's not really there unless we allow it to be there, or that we create in our minds from it. But again, kind of reframing the way that we perceive these events can really help you when a challenging situation comes up, to change your approach, your mindset around it. From, like, for me, I was like, nobody's gonna like me because I lost my hair. I'm not gonna get a job. I'm not, all these things. Um, and and it was just like, once I got the fruits and vegetables into me, and I was clearly, I could see there was other people, other bald people that were successful and doing fine. But it just took that reconnection with myself to understand that I'm gonna be fine. Like, I'm still gonna, everything's gonna work out. I am not my hair, and so I feel like I've brought this up in like the last 3 or 4 episodes, but it's just, I think it's just so important to understand that when you have compassion for yourself, it's just such a powerful thing for opening so many doors in your life, for creating the life that you could potentially have if you allow yourself to have it. And so once you do that, and you have that empathy and compassion for yourself, then you naturally start to have it for others as well. And I think that's why, once we get out of, because most of us are in like a fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system is always ticked on for most people, through, from eating the crap diets that they eat, and watching the crap media, and listening to crap music, and all the stuff that puts crap into their mind. And so they have crappy thoughts. And so they think bad things about themselves, and they also think bad things about other people, and they're basically just living in a fear-based paradigm, fear-based mindset. And when we're in fear, our scope of compassion and awareness is so limited, right? Like, when you're in fear, you just want to find safety, you just want to survive, you're in survival mode. And so you have so much less concern about others, the well-being of others, because you're just focused. Even if you don't consciously understand that, you're just like focused on finding safety and surviving. And so once you kind of shift over and get your parasympathetic nervous system activated, and you get more into that, that calm, more loving, compassionate state of mind, then you start to see so many more avenues of sharing that compassion and empathy, and looking at other people in different ways. Like, that's one thing that my hair again taught me, is that I was like struggling with that, and now I can see that in other people, and I can have empathy and compassion for other people that are struggling with, whether it be physical characteristics or anything else, right? It makes it so much easier for me to have compassion for these people, and understand why maybe they're acting the way that they act, or why they're thinking the way they think. And so again, I think going through and growing through, as they say, these challenges, these learning opportunities, these self-development opportunities, I think is just, it's something that is going to not only help us grow as a person, but it's going to help us be empathetic and compassionate towards others. And so when you're in a healthy state, right, when you're not in that constant fight or flight, you're able to express this much more. And so That is why I think it's a true sign of health when I see somebody who is compassionate and empathetic to other people, and really tries to understand where other people come from, and that sort of thing. They're not just like they wall off anybody that thinks differently or doesn't do what they want them to do. So yeah, that would be my third one, is having the ability to express compassion and empathy.
I love that one. That's really good. I think that's so true. I see a lot of criticism towards self and criticism towards others, a lot of judgments in health communities. And I think that's not it. That can't be it, right? We can't. I read a quote the other day. I can't quite remember exactly how it was. It's just a sentence, but basically it was the idea is that we will never remedy a problem through self criticism, ever, ever, or through the criticism of another person. But we might say, oh, right, I know that. But we do it constantly, right? Constantly, constantly, we criticize ourselves for one thing or another, or we criticize another person. And that is not how we remedy problems. And so I think, yeah, the ability to express empathy and compassion for yourself and others is such a hugely true mark of a truly healthy person. And to be so critical of yourself or to be so critical of other people um, isn't true health. It's not true health. And it doesn't lead to truly healthy choices, right? Every action begins with a thought. The ancestor to every action is a thought. And so we must start with looking at our thoughts. And so self critical thoughts lead to self critical actions, which are very rarely healthy. And so we want to start with, yeah, healthy, loving, compassionate thoughts in order to make healthy, loving, compassionate choices, which are healthy inherently.
Totally agree. Yes. All right. Anything else you want to touch on before we head over to the Q&A?
I don't think so. Let's open up the questions. They
All
waited
right.
long enough.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Oh, and but before we do, let's so is there anywhere else that people can connect with you? So oliviahertzog.com is your website. Do you have and Instagram too, Olivia Hertzog? Anything else that you want people to know about before we head into the Q&A?
I don't think so. I think, yeah, everything that I offer is on my website, and I pretty much mostly only show up on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook a little bit, but those are the two places to find me. So,
All right. Cool. Sounds good. Well, yeah, everybody, links are in the description box down below, so be sure to check out Olivia's resources. A lot of great stuff over there. You won't be disappointed, so go check it out. All right, let's head over to the Q&A room. Here we go. Yeah, there we are. We're at the blackboard here, so let's take some questions, guys. Again, if you ask a question today, you're going to be in the drawing to get a free copy of the ebook, 21-Day Raw Transformation Program, and also one free month in Olivia's private community. So that's incredible. So congratulations to anybody that wins that. Let's get some questions going here. I haven't been doing the best job of keeping up here with the chat, but let's see. All right. Anybody got questions here? Did you? I don't know. Can you see the chat? I don't know if I saw any come through.
I can't see the chat, or I guess I could see the chat if I pulled it up on my.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're just on Zoom, right?
I'm just on your Zoom right now, but I could totally open up. I don't know why I didn't before.
No, it's
I'm
okay.
gonna go send us your questions, people.
Yes, let's go. Let's get some questions here. So let's see. Maybe I guess I'll just ask you a question first, just to get us going here. And we'll just make it. Let's. What can you just share a little bit more about your community that can get so people can see what they have a chance to win here?
Totally. Yeah. So, like I said earlier, my community is a lot of different things. It's a place where I post all of my recipes. I have over 400 raw vegan recipes in there right now. I mean, juices, smoothies, desserts, salads, dressings, pizzas, all of the things. I also have some healthy, whole food, plant based recipes in there as well, not nearly as many. But I'm working to fill that up a little bit more for people who are interested in feeding themselves or their family some cooked, whole food, plant based recipes. Um, I do weekly group coaching every week. Weekly is weekly. With my community, we do book clubs. So we read through all kinds of different books on health, mindset, um, yeah, health, mindset, wellness. We do monthly challenges. So right now, I said we're doing a raw October challenge, which is oriented around celebrating raw food and incorporating more raw food into your diet. We've also done a 30-day smoothie challenge. We've done self-love challenges. We've done exercise challenges. We do lots of different things. We have daily chat rooms where you can post whatever question, whatever thing you're going through that myself or my admins or other people in the community will answer for you. Um, Everyone who's in my community gets discounts to my other offers. So my retreats, I host several retreats every year, which are really, really fun. And so as a member of my community, you have access to discounts for retreats. My new raw food course I just put out, which is super cool. My new recipe course where you can
Nice.
learn, yeah, raw food. I could go on and on for a long time. So there's lots of things going on in the community. It's a really special place that I love so much. I love everyone who's in there, and I love what we do in there. And I love to see the growth in people when they stick around and really dig in. So yeah, I'm excited for whoever's going to join us after this.
Incredible. Yeah, that sounds really cool. And your retreats, if nobody has seen the pre or like the highlight videos of your retreats, they do look really incredible. So I've been to some retreats, and I can say going to an in-person retreat is like, for me, it's a experience that I'll never forget. Like, it was so life-changing to be in the presence of other people that are, interested in the same things and excited about, health and learning about health and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think anybody that has an opportunity to go to a retreat like Olivia's retreats, I would definitely do.
Yeah, yeah, community is so, so huge. I think that's another really big part of a truly healthy person is their, ability to be connected to other people as well as themselves. And so that's why I do the online community, which is awesome, but nothing will ever replace in-person community and connection. So being able to get together with people in real life, in person, to eat healthy food, to move our bodies, to hike, to play pickleball, to sit around a bonfire and share ourselves. I mean, it's like it's human, right? It's just human.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think we've lost that a little bit over the last 3 or 4 years. It's just people forget the importance of getting together, and like this is great, obviously, but yeah, being in person is special.
Totally.
So there's a few questions I've seen here talking about overt fats. Let's see. Annie said, "I would love to know about adding overt fat in. I'm not much on. She doesn't eat much fat. So what are your thoughts about how much fat we need, or like how to add in healthy sources of fat?"
Yeah, I think it really depends on everybody uniquely. I think there's a range, right? I don't think that 100% fat diet is that possible.
I
Um,
don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think that that would
Maybe
be
oil. You just drank
if you
oil.
just drink oil. Oh my gosh, that sounds terrible. Um, but yeah, I think that overt fat is really important. I would say that if you don't feel that you love overt fats and you just genuinely aren't desiring them, then don't force yourself to eat more than you want naturally. But I would also ask, because I know there's a lot of thoughts that influence people's fat feelings. What's your relationship with fat? Are you afraid of fat? Do you think fat will slow your healing process? Do you think the fat you eat is the fat you wear? And so I sort of like to question that because healthy fats, healthy plant-based fats, I think are absolutely essential. I have yet to meet a person who's succeeded long term on any diet who has not eaten overt fats. And so I think they're really, really essential. But how many or what specific amount is good for every unique individual is unique to the individual. So yeah, I can't give an exact number.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think you go by how you feel, right? That's what I do. Like that's how I determine how much fat that I want to have. And I've experimented. I used to, when I first started eating this way, I was eating way more fats, way more avocados, way more nuts and seeds, way more dehydrated, nut and seed based recipes. And I felt okay then doing it that way. And then over time, I realized I felt better as I reduced it a little. And yeah, over the last 12 years, I personally have adjusted up and down a little bit here and there to one, see how I feel, because I've noticed I do feel the best on, you know, fairly low fat, a low fat diet. Um, but sometimes I'm a little higher, sometimes a little lower, so it kind of fluctuates based on, just how I'm feeling and that sort of thing. So I for me, yeah, I think going with how you feel, and if you start try adding in a little more, if you feel better, um, then stick with that, but just go by your intuition. And yeah, I think whole fats are probably the best way to go in terms of which fats to add. So avocado, nuts and seeds. Personally, I stay away from oil. I'm not going to say that everybody has to strictly 100% stay away from oil, but for me, I found it to be the best to stay away from it. So yeah, I can only share my experience, and that's what I try and help people do is figure out your own, learn from your own personal experience.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Agreed.
All right. Let's see. Music Monster Man said, "What, if not diet, do you think is the number one importance for longevity?"
Mm. I don't think I could choose just one. We listed several of them here, right? I think that the blue zones are such a good example. There's the Blue Zones book. There's a new documentary, it's relatively new on Netflix, right, about the blue zones. I don't know if you saw it, Matt, but it was pretty good. Um,
I haven't seen it.
and
No.
yeah, I mean, if you're familiar with the blue zones, or if you read the book, then it just is all the things we already know, just reaffirmed.
Cool.
But I don't think it is any one thing. I think that's the whole point. I think it is community. It's connection to self. It's being in nature. It's having a strong sense of purpose. I think it's having some sort of spiritual connection to something beyond yourself. I think it's diet. I think it's exercise. I think it's so many different things, and we just can't boil it down to one most important thing. I don't think we can do that. Sleep. Oh man, we should talk about sleep. I mean, so many
Yes.
things are so important.
Yeah. I know. I agree. You can't just put it on one thing because yeah, like everything that Olivia just said, it's and kind of like we've talked about, balance. I think balance might be one of the things. I don't know, but again, it's like you could really, if you wanted to, reduce it down to one thing, you could really make a case for any of them. If you could easily look at sleep, you could look at exercise, you could look at diet, you could look at community, all these different things. But I really think, yeah, it's the combination of all of them. So having that balance between them, in some way, that's again, it's the least you know stressful for you to maintain. What you got to just, again, I feel like a broken record. It's like finding, following your own intuition and listening to what feels the best, by combining these different things so that it's a sustainable way of living. And if you're doing, something in life that you're passionate about, I think that's another big thing is just following your passion and finding purpose. And I think, every once you do that, once you find your purpose and your passion, um, you're on a good path to your longevity goals, because I think that's a lot of times what just elevates all the other things that you could put into your healthy lifestyle. So hope that makes sense.
Totally makes sense. Yeah.
All right, let's see. Somebody said, let's see, Aqua Bunny says, "I'm kind of over bitter, pungent, and astringent foods." She said, I kind of hate nuts and seeds, to be honest. They keep messing up my system. Craving soaked chickpeas right now, though. So yeah, not a question, but yeah, just again, listen to your body, and if you don't feel good eating the nuts and seeds, then eat maybe avocado or something else that if you're trying to get some fats in. And for me, for nuts and seeds, I think digestibility wise, for me anyways, it works the best to blend them into a salad dressing and eat them with a big leafy green salad. Um, so if you have trouble digesting nuts and seeds, one, you can soak them, and then you can also just blend them into a salad dressing. I think that's a good way to introduce them into your system, especially if you haven't been consuming them frequently. Tessa wants to know, how does one find their purpose?
Ooh, that's a fun question.
Yes.
What do you love? What makes you happy? I don't think there's there's never a specific answer. There's no specific answer to how much fat we should eat or what specific foods we should eat, or there's no one specific answer. There's no one way to find your purpose. But I think it's really connecting to self, right? When you know yourself, you know what you love, what makes you excited, what you feel like you're here to do. And I think that we connect to ourselves through honoring what we want in very small ways and big and building up to bigger ways. So for example, what do you want for breakfast? I gave the example earlier of celery juice, right? Celery juice is super healthy, apparently. It's celery, right? It's good.
Yeah.
But what you really want, what you really feel excited about, what you feel like your body's asking you for is orange juice, then give yourself orange juice. And that is a small little example of connecting to your intuition, choosing the orange juice over the celery juice. Good job. Okay. Moving on to lunch, right? What do you want for lunch? Right? Not what does what Matt say to have for lunch, not what does Olivia say to have for lunch, not what does anyone else say to have for lunch, but what do you feel excited? Do you feel excited to have a strawberry banana smoothie, or do you feel excited to have a mango smoothie, right? There's no better answer. These are just simple, silly examples, but really connecting to what you want. How do you like to move your body? Do you like to go to the gym? People are always gym, gym, gym. Do you like going to the gym? If you like going to the gym, by all means, go to the gym. But if you like riding your bike, or if you like doing yoga, or if you like running hurdles, whatever you like to do those things. And as we connect to ourselves through these small, in quotes, things throughout our day to day lives, we connect more deeply to our intuition. And as we connect more deeply to our intuition, bigger and bigger things like our purpose, our life purpose, I think become clearer and clearer. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely makes sense. Um, sorry, I was I was reading through the comments as they were coming in, but yeah, what sorry,
You're good. You're,
I'm out of it today.
you're good.
So yes, what you said made sense. I'm trying to tie it into something else I was going to say, but now I lost my train of thought. So,
You're good. Keep going.
all right, cool. So, let's see. Oh yeah, so with in addition to what Olivia said, I think what did you enjoy? This is just what I learned on how to try to find my purpose, and it led me to do things like write a children's book. I you as a child, I would love, like, I drew a lot of pictures, and I made a lot of mazes. Like, I used to make mazes. I was like known as the kid that made mazes, and be creative in that way. And so it just it's finding what you enjoyed when you were a child, I think, is a great place to start, with finding your passions. And then look at those things, and it might either trigger an idea or an intuitive feeling for something that you could do that you're passionate about. But yeah, I think looking at the things that we really enjoyed before we were conditioned through, society to kind of homogenize us to just be good, workers and listen to authority and things like this. So I think looking at, yeah, your mindset and your passions before you were told who to be is a good way to learn what you're passionate about.
Yeah, or maybe to ask yourself as well, what would you choose to do? What would you love to do if there were no obstacles or limitations?
Mm,
Right? If nothing in your way, what would you love to spend your day doing? And yeah, just really playing around with that, right? How would you love to spend your day? How would you love to spend your weekend? How would you love to spend your time off? And just really exploring what you love to do if there was absolutely no thing standing in your way.
yeah, totally. And just to continue off of my book example, once I wrote this book, or once I made this book, it showed me how much I enjoyed making books, which led me to making other books. So yeah, I mean, once you kind of dive into, even if it's not what you're going to end up doing long term, if just get that feel, or feeling what it's like to do something that you really enjoy, like what do you like to do, go do that this next weekend, or whenever you have a free day to go do it. And yeah, it's just like, I think you can build momentum towards and open, which opens doors to other ideas on things that you would love to do. And yeah, so that's just something I would add.
Cool. Love this. Love this conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
I could talk all day long.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got another question from Fiona. She says, when I spend a lot of time with people who have a mainstream diet and other mainstream habits, I get cravings for less optimal foods. Does anyone else experience this, and how do you deal with it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that, for example, I spent some time with a friend, and even though I enjoyed being with her afterwards, I felt like eating wraps with wheat. I'd never even eaten that before.
Mm,
um, yeah, back to the community thing, back to why I have my online community for as a place of support and encouragement in healthy habits and healthy mindsets. Back to why I host my retreats, because the power of being surrounded by like-minded people who will inspire you to move in a healthy, positive direction is unmatched. Similarly, spending a lot of time with people who are not of a similar mindset and who are not on a similar journey will affect you. None of us is exempt from this. I don't care how strong willed you are. I don't care how firm in your convictions you are. The people that we spend our time with are the people that are influencing us, plain and simple. And that's not to say that we can't go to an event where everyone else is eating burgers on the grill and we eat a veggie burger or we eat a salad. We can absolutely do that in an isolated scenario. I think any reasonable person who continued to put themselves in a situation where everyone else was eating cheeseburgers and drinking beer would eventually be impacted in one way or another by that, whether they participated in the cheeseburgers and the beer, or they just slowly started to erode their convictions or their mindset in one way or another. It's just the facts of life. We are the culmination of the people that we spend the most time with. And so it's so important to be critical and careful, not of people, but of who we choose to spend our time with. Put yourself in situations where you will be inspired and motivated and encouraged to make choices that are expansive and healthy and positive for you.
yeah, and that could have easily been one of my. I thought about adding that to one of my points. Was, yeah, it's another sign of a healthy person is that you put yourself in healthy environments. Like you raise your standards of what people you're going to be around, what situations you're going to put yourself in, and again, what thoughts you think and things like this. So I think if you truly want to embody a healthy life, then I think making sure that you're being as, um, being as compassionate to yourself, to put yourself in good situations that are gonna lead you to the best choices yourself. So
Mm.
um let's see. Music Monster Man said, is there any validity, I can't talk today, to avoiding certain acidic fruits or veggies as one is trying to recover from GERD? Been struggling with chest and throat pain and trying to avoid triggering foods. Experience with
Yes.
that?
Well, I think yes, one should avoid foods that trigger, um, because we all start from unique places, right? And so certain things can trigger a certain condition or symptom that's unique to a person's certain thing. And that's not to say that that food is bad. I know all sorts of different conditions and symptoms can cause reactions to healthy foods, tomatoes, citrus, oranges, lemons, lots of these different things. And these are very healthful foods. But if they're causing a negative reaction in you right now, then absolutely set them aside for the time being and eat the foods that feel supportive and helpful for your healing, while also trusting and working towards being able to include those healthy foods back in when the time is right.
100%. Yeah. Um, yeah, avoiding, I think avoiding some of those more acidic foods is, if you're experiencing GERD issues or heartburn. And like Olivia said, if those are triggering foods, then yeah, of course, like don't continue to consume those until you get past, till your body heals and you get past that issue. I would also, again, look at the fat content. I know fat, if you're consuming higher fat, that can be a trigger to GERD symptoms. And so by reducing the fat content, depending on where you're at with that, would be helpful. And yeah, I think like Olivia said, once these are healthy foods, but there's times where we can take a break from those to allow the body to correct a situation that it's going through. And you might want to think about, we talked about medical medium celery juice. That could be a good. I know people have felt better by consuming celery juice that were having GERD symptoms. So might be another thing to think about. Let's see. I know somebody asked, how did you get into a raw vegan diet?
Oh, that's fun. So about 10 years from now, I had met a friend at a cafe I was working at who was vegan. I had never heard the word vegan before. I had no idea what that was. And so she introduced me to veganism, and I quickly felt like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so I switched over to a vegan diet. But just replace all of my normal standard American foods with processed vegan foods. So, crappy food, things that didn't make me feel good. And it was not too long after that, a couple months later, I was in her room and I saw the 80-10-10 book by Dr. Douglas Graham on her bookshelf. I asked if I could borrow that. I read it super fast and thought, hey, this makes so much sense. I quickly started to shift my diet to a fruit-based diet, a raw food diet, because, important point, I had suffered for many years from an eating disorder, from a disconnection from myself, and had never found healing while trying to eat in moderation, what I was told to do, healthy foods and unhealthy foods, and just never found a way to make that work for me. And I believe it was because on some level, I knew that those foods were not for me. McDonald's and Oreos were not for me, no matter how small amounts I allowed myself to eat to try to heal my relationship with food. And ultimately, an eating disorder isn't truly an issue with food, it's an issue with disconnection from self hatred. So anyway, I found out about raw food, and that was a big part of my healing journey. Although, very importantly, not the only part. I did not heal just because of food. I healed because I was doing a lot of inner work. I was in therapy. I was doing a lot of mindset work at that time, and I continue to do so. But food was an important part that helped me connect more deeply to my intuition and myself. And that's how I got started. I moved into a raw vegan community in Hawaii because I saw the importance of being surrounded by like minded people during those initial years of transition. And I learned how to become a raw food chef. And then I, yeah, proceeded to travel around the country as a raw food chef and coach. And that's the very abbreviated version of my story.
Yeah, it's funny. I did I see your posts, quite a bit, and it's just like I learn something new about you all the time. Like, so you travel, like you've traveled like quite a few places in the world, right? Um,
Totally. Yeah.
has it been? Were you raw vegan at the time when you were doing a lot of this traveling, and like what was it like traveling for people that think that it's so difficult to travel when you're eating this way?
I think it's easier. I think it's easier to travel. I mean, it might require a little bit more forethought, but I don't think it's more difficult at all. Just, when I get on an airplane, I go with a bag of apples and dates and dried figs and done.
Yeah.
Right. And so it does require me to think about it in advance. Otherwise, I'm stuck with airport food. But it's certainly not complicated to travel with a bag of apples and dates. And then as far as living in other places, being in other places, we have grocery stores everywhere.
Yeah.
If there's a restaurant, there's a grocery store. And so I would just go to the grocery store and stock up on fruit and vegetables and keep them in my little Airbnb or hotel room or wherever I was staying. Um, but a lot of those travels were in raw vegan. Like I said, I lived in Hawaii in a raw vegan community for most of a year. And so I was supported in my diet by the other people that were living there. I also lived in a raw vegan community in Ecuador for a
Wow.
time and was supported in my diet and lifestyle by the people that were living there. So I have been and continue to be extremely intentional about who I surround myself with, not just with health and diet, but in other areas of my life that are important to me as well. Entrepreneurship, healthy relationships, marriage, like lots of different things that are important to me. um, I get around those people because I understand the power of influence when I'm around people and situations that aren't moving in the direction that I want to be going.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's so cool. And that's again why, everybody, you should be going over to Olivia's website because, she has all this experience. She's been doing this for a long time. I think people with the experience of traveling a lot and, coaching and being chefs for people. I think that, there's such a depth of knowledge and wisdom that you receive from actually going through the experience of these things that makes you a really good coach. And I think that's why people that join Olivia's coaching and her community benefit so much. So just another reason to check that out. Um, Carl said, any tips on looking after your teeth on a raw vegan diet?
Ooh, yeah. Do you want to start with that one?
Sure. Yeah. My teeth. So I used to growing up. My teeth were. So I'll say I've never had a cavity in my entire life. So that's one thing I've. I think I was pretty fortunate to have good teeth. But at the same time, I always had gingivitis or, bleeding gums or canker sores, just I just really didn't have very good oral health, even though I didn't really have any cavities. So, um, I told the story one time about going to the dentist in college, and he told me I had like 4 or 5 cavities, and then I went to my hometown dentist for a second opinion, and he said that I didn't have any cavities, and so that was just, that was an eye-opening experience to really, again, listen to your intuition. If you get a diagnosis or somebody tells you something that just doesn't feel right in the moment, get a second opinion or check in with yourself to see if it really aligns with what you believe. But so yeah, I haven't had any cavities, but what I will say is I in the beginning of getting into this lifestyle, I found that I had tartar on like down along on my bottom teeth. And so I didn't even know this really until I got in this lifestyle. I started doing oil pulling. I'm pretty positive that's what helped me remove the tartar. But I got rid of the tartar that was on the bottom of my teeth, and it was like it kind of there was some recession and like it doesn't look the greatest, but over time, and it used to be sensitive, and then over time, as I stopped eating processed foods, I stopped eating flour products and dry foods, um, and of course pop and soda and sugary things. Um, I and animal products, I think that can contribute as well. They healed up and now they're not sensitive at all. I've still never had any fillings or anything. Even though I went to the dentist like after 10 years of since that college experience, and she told me that I must have great genetics and that my x-rays were perfect, and like she was like really impressed. And so it goes to show that just because you're on a raw vegan diet doesn't mean that your teeth have to suffer, because mine have actually improved over that time, And so I have found, there's a few things, and I have a video about this. So on my YouTube channel, if you just look up like raw intuition, teeth or teeth problems or dental work or something, I'll post it in the description box. But I have found that one, staying away from a lot of dried foods is a big part of keeping your teeth. Because even still, if I eat a lot of dried, like fruits or other dried things, I can sometimes start to get a little sensitivity in my teeth in some places. But once I get rid of that, I'm completely I have zero issues with my teeth. And so staying away from the dried foods, um, and one thing that I always say is mouth breathing is a big thing that can cause teeth issues, because when you breathe through your mouth, you're drying up your saliva, and your saliva is responsible for remineralizing your teeth. And so, making sure that you're working on becoming a nasal breather rather than a mouth breather, especially like when we sleep, that can be helpful, I think. And then let's see, what are some other things? Not brushing I don't brush my teeth like immediately after I finish eating, usually. I floss. I actually just got have you ever used a water pick? I just got a water pick the other day. It's awesome.
No, I've heard it's
Yeah.
probably a great thing to get. Yeah, but no, I have not yet gotten one.
Okay. Yeah, I heard about it many years ago and I wanted to get one. I just never did, and then finally we just got one. So yeah, I think that's another way that you could, help to clear out things from your teeth, and brush your teeth, take care of them. I don't know. Do you have any additional things to that?
Yeah, I have a couple things. So first off, I am sort of the opposite. I didn't have any cavities or teeth issues until I went raw vegan,
Yeah.
but not attribute that to my diet at all. I attribute that to, just like any other health problem, these things don't pop out of thin air. They're the accumulation of things that have been happening for a long time. And so while I didn't notice the cavities when I was eating lots of, I don't know, soda, chips, whatever, all the things that I would eat. I did have a few cavities towards the beginning of my time eating a raw vegan diet. But again, I think that those were things that were there and that were building while before I'd ever changed my diet. I've now been eating a fruit-based raw vegan diet for 8 years, and I don't have any teeth issues currently. So I do not think it's the diet, but I do think there are certain things that matter so much. So first off, quality of food matters so very much. Variety matters so very much. Ripeness matters so very much. I get a little frustrated with the whole just eat fruit thing, or fruit is the best choice in every scenario all the time, because there's no nuance to the truth that eating a really underripe, crappy imported pineapple that is not a good idea. It's not a good idea.
Yeah.
It can cause teeth issues. It can cause all kinds of different health issues. And so it's not so simple to just say eat fruit or eat more fruit, but we need to eat quality fruit. We need to go out of our way to find or grow or do whatever we need to do in order to eat quality fruit. I'm not saying perfect. I'm not saying everything has to be perfect. I eat imported fruit. I know Matt eats imported bananas. We do things
Yep.
that might not be quote unquote perfect, but it does really matter. Ripeness matters so much. Eating underripe fruit is not a good idea. It's not how it wants to be eaten. It often doesn't taste very good. It can be not a great situation. And then variety. Greens. I know Matt is huge on the salads, huge on the greens. We want to get the minerals in, maybe with a great green powder. I love Daily Green Boost powder, or any other type of barley grass juice powder. Synergy has some great powders. And so we want to eat a variety of minerals and vitamins and nutrients as well, to support our overall health. So that's my answer.
Yes, great points. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about the fruit, the unripe fruit. Yeah, that's for sure something that I do agree. It's one of the things that I think people don't think about enough is yeah, the quality, the ripeness, and yeah, of course the greens, you guys got to get those greens. Come on.
Oh, plug.
Yeah, little plug there if you want to save your teeth.
Yeah,
Um,
sure though.
yeah, so and that is another thing actually that was probably a big factor in my teeth recovery, or just my maintenance of my teeth, is that I've been eating a massive salad, almost daily for over 12 years now. So that's been, I think, yeah, like Olivia said, get those minerals in. You want to get in quality food. Ah, yeah, great points. Great points. Okay, let's see. I think there's maybe one or two left. Let's see. Lori says, Matt, I think this is the best program yet. I have really enjoyed this discussion. You both are so wise. It's just a pleasure to listen to you both. Well, thank you,
Oh,
Lori. I
yeah.
had a feeling anytime we have Olivia on, it's always just like a smash hit for an episode. So,
Um,
yes.
Shucks.
Let's see. Fiona says, good points, Olivia and Matt. Being healthy includes being in healthy environments, healthy situations, and healthy communities. Thanks a lot. Yes, thank you. Let's
Oh,
see. Mallory May says, music monster man. Have you tried foods on an empty stomach that help build hydrochloric acid, such as celery juice or melon on an empty stomach? There you go. Something to think about. Thanks for that comment, Mallory. Okay, I think that's the end of our questions here. So let's do. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. Christy Alley said, "I love asking myself the question, what brings me joy." So going back to how to find your passion, yeah, asking yourself that question can only help. So thanks for that comment, Christy. Let's.
Christy is like and woman. She knows.
Yes.
She knows. She knows. Yeah, it's good. It's true. It's a really good question to ask yourself.
I'm actually having. Okay, there we go. I couldn't scroll through the comments; it was stuck. But now,
Oh,
all right, we're gonna do the drawing here. So because I don't have an actual like fancy program that allows me to scroll through them, I'm just gonna go through the comments without looking, and wherever my mouse lands, that's who's gonna get this free ebook, which we're giving away, 21-day raw transformation program, and a month free in Olivia's incredible private community.
oh yeah.
Drum roll, please. Oh, it landed on Fiona. Fiona, there you go. Fiona, if you want to email me at matt@myrawintuition.com, I will get you that ebook, and then I can. Do you want me to just forward it over to you, Olivia, or how do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Totally.
right. Sweet. All right. There you go.
Well,
Fiona, congratulations. Here, I always kind of forget sometimes, but let's get these. Oh, shoot. Oh, lost Olivia there. There we go.
oh,
Okay. Nope, here it is. Wait for it. Wait for it, guy. See, this is why I need an assistant to do the fancy things for me.
What is happening?
I'm trying. I'm trying to get fireworks to go up on the screen, but
Oh,
yeah, I'm lost. I can't figure out where to go now. I can't find the reactions. Anyways, congratulations, Fiona. Thank you so much, Fiona, and everybody else for being here with us and for listening to us share our thoughts and opinions and just have a great discussion with Olivia. It's been fun. Yeah. Any last words, Olivia, before we sign off?
um, just thanks for having me. Thanks for being here. I hope that there was something that landed with everyone. And I guess my final thought will be to remind all of us to practice what we know, to practice what we learn. It can be really easy to just sit and listen to a cool podcast or a cool show or read a cool book and think, yeah, that really makes a lot of sense. That's really great. But it matters very little if we don't do, if we don't act, if we don't change our behavior. So in whatever ways you feel inspired to change your behavior moving forward from this moment, I hope that you will do so.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. Great way to end it. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody else for being here. And next week, I haven't actually. I'm in the works of getting next week's guest. I just need to confirm with them that it's going to work. But next week's going to be a really good episode as well. So I hope you guys will tune back in next Sunday, same time, same place. And again, check out the links in the description box to check out all of Olivia's resources and her community. And again, Fiona, congratulations for winning the gifts, the prizes today. So thank you, everybody. Hope you have a great week, and we'll catch you next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.